I think a lot of girls hear things like dream big or set big goals, but no one actually teaches you the steps after that that get you going and keep you motivated. Maybe you've written goals before just to forget about them a week later. Maybe you've started off strong and then you start comparing yourself to other people and you think, I'm just going to give this up. This is pointless. Or maybe there's things that you want in your life, but you just don't know where to start. In this video, I want to walk you through a few simple shifts that you can use to make your goals actually work for you and help you stay motivated without putting a ton of pressure on yourself. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Ashley, and I am a chronic overthinker and recovering pessimist. And I am here to teach young women what I didn't learn until my late 30s so that you can go through life feeling self-confident and learning to trust yourself. Now, the first tip is really simple and it's going to sound like, duh, Ashley, I know this, but stick with me for just a second. And the first thing you want to do is write your goals down. This is so much more powerful than people realize. A lot of people think about their goals and they just keep them in their head and they're like, oh, I'll remember them, I'll get to them. But what happens is you talk about them with other people, but you never actually go anywhere with them. They're not concrete enough. Studies have shown over and over again, people who actually write their goals down are more successful and tend to make more money than people who don't. When you write your goals down, there's a couple of things that happen. First, it forces you to get really crystal clear on what exactly you want. Second, it gives your brain something to refer back to. When you can actually look at it and repeat it over and over in your mind, it does something to your brain that helps it to stick. Your goals stop being this vague idea that's just floating around your mind, and it becomes something that you're intentionally working on. In other words, your brain starts to take it more seriously. You also give yourself something to come back to, something you can look at when you lose motivation. It's kind of like when you read those motivational posts on Instagram and for a couple of moments you're like, oh yeah, and you get like really inspired. It's sort of the same thing, except it's more personal to you. So when you're starting to doubt yourself or you're starting to lose your motivation, you can look back to it and remember why you wrote it down in the first place. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You can write it down on a piece of paper where you'll see it all the time, or you can write it in a journal or a notebook or even an app on your phone in your notes. But when you write them down, you're basically telling yourself, look, this is really important to me. Let's make this happen. And that small act of writing them down helps you to stay connected to your goals over time, especially when motivation starts to wane. Even if your goals feel really small and you're like, oh, I don't need to write this down, and you're not 100% sure about it yet, write it down anyway, because sometimes once you start writing, that clarity comes from what you're putting out in front of you. Number 2. Only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. One of the biggest ways that I see people destroy their motivation is to constantly compare their progress to other people. And look, I'm kind of talking to myself here too, because I do the exact same thing. Especially now with social media, it's so easy to feel behind or inadequate or like she has something that I don't. She's able to do this. But the truth is, someone's always going to be further along with you. There's always going to be someone a step ahead of you, a couple of steps ahead of you, because they started before you. So it's not fair for you to compare yourself to them. There'll always be someone who had different opportunities or they just move at a different pace in life. We're all different, so we're not going to move at the same rate. If you're constantly measuring yourself against somebody else's life, you're always going to feel like you're not doing enough, or that you're not far enough along, or that you're not good enough. Instead, what I want you to do is compare your progress to who you were before. It can be who you were yesterday. It can be who you were last month, last year. Ask yourself things like, where was I a year ago? Do I see growth? Am I learning new things? Even if you fail, you're still learning a lot in the process. Trust me. Look, I'm kind of doing the same thing on this YouTube channel. It's getting easier and easier for me to record these videos because I have a couple under my belt. So now I sort of know my setup. I know what I'm going to say. I know how I'm going to say it. And it's gotten easier and I can do it a lot faster too. Shit. Go away. Well, maybe a year ago, you were too scared to even try something. So you should be super proud that you're even thinking about starting. Maybe you didn't believe in yourself at all last week, but now you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. Your journey isn't supposed to look like somebody else's. Your only real competition is the past version of you. If you can look at those small wins over time, it really does a lot for your motivation for you to keep on going. And when you look back on it or even write them down periodically, you'll actually see how far you've come when you think you haven't done anything. And you'll see that you've made way more progress than you initially thought. A lot of times we create goals in our head that are so big. They feel so unreachable and they intimidate us before we even start. So one thing that helps is breaking your goals down into smaller bite-sized tidbits. These smaller steps help that bigger goal seem more achievable and easier to get to. And it helps you to have smaller targets to focus on before you get to that finish line. So ask yourself, what is the smallest step that I can take today? And that may be all you need to get started. Number 3 is one that people think is a little woo-woo and out there, but it's future scripting. And I used to think the same way. It's another really powerful tool for goal setting. Future scripting is basically writing down about the future as if it's already happened or as if it's happening in the present. I know this sounds really strange, but just hear me out. Let's say it's a year from now. You're imagining that it's a year from now, and you want to write down what you are doing right now. I want you to imagine how much progress you made. Where do you feel like you want to be in a year? And what does your life look like? What have you accomplished? What steps have you taken towards your goal? What identity are you holding? How do you walk? How do you dress? What does your day look like? And I want you to write that all down as if it's happening right now. You are living that life in the present. Maybe it's, I feel more confident speaking up now, or I've built better habits. And maybe you trust yourself more. Write about it in as much detail as possible, because when you write those details, you start to bring up emotions, and emotions are super powerful. Those emotions allow you to connect better with that future self and help you envision that this version of you is actually possible. And your brain starts to believe that this isn't something in the future. This is who I am now. And when you can picture that version clearly, it becomes a lot easier to move like that person and move in the direction of those goals. Simone Biles actually does this before any competition. She did it before the Olympics, and she writes down exactly how she envisions her routine going, step by step, how she feels, how she's landing everything. And she imagines herself standing on the podium nice and tall and receiving her gold medal. And there must be something to it, because she's won like 7 gold medals and countless championships. So I want you to do the same thing. I want you to take just 10 minutes or so and just start free writing. What kind of things will come out when you just start imagining what your future will look like, the things that are in your life, the things that you've accomplished. And I want you to feel what it feels like to be in that future moment and sit with it. When you're done, I want you to read over it a couple of times and just sit with those feelings of how good it feels. Come back to this and read over it often to remind yourself of what you are becoming and what you are working towards. Because when you have the mindset of already having achieved it, your brain tells you that these things are actually possible for us, and it becomes easier to achieve your goals. Number 4 is something that I talk about all the time with all different kinds of tips and techniques that I talk about, and it's staying consistent. And this is one of the hardest things for many people, including myself. And it's one of the biggest misconceptions about goals is that motivation is the biggest driver. I know I've said motivation a lot of times, but motivation comes and goes, and it really can't stay without consistency. I know there are plenty of days when I wake up and I don't want to work out. I'm too tired, and my brain starts to think of all of these excuses of why I shouldn't work out today. But when I go downstairs and I make myself do it, I always feel better afterwards. And I'm always proud of myself, one, for being able to keep my word to myself. But second, knowing that that's another day that I have logged, that I'm working towards the person that I want to be, which is somebody who's strong and fit and somebody who works out multiple times a week. It's just reinforcing that identity, even when I don't want to do it. Then there's other days when you're going to feel super excited and inspired. Go with that. Do as much as you can. Don't burn yourself out. But when there's days that I have a lot of motivation, I can write a ton of posts, a ton of content. I can write videos for YouTube to share with you guys. But consistency is what creates momentum. So every single day that you're doing that, it's huge, and you should be really proud of every day that you've taken an action towards your end goal. Now, that doesn't mean every single day you need to hustle, hustle, hustle. There's definitely time for rest. But when you tell yourself, okay, these are the days that I'm going to work towards this, keep your promise to yourself. These small actions repeated over time means your brain will start to tell yourself, this is my identity. This is who I am. I'm somebody where I can show up for myself. And that's where self-trust comes in. It might not seem like anything in the moment, but over time, when you're constantly keeping your word to yourself, you're proving that you can rely on yourself. And when your self-trust goals, that's when you start to believe that your goals are possible for you. And the last one is celebrate your progress. This one is so important to staying motivated and staying consistent. We always think, oh, there's nothing to be proud of until we finish that end goal. There's nothing to be proud of until I hit 10,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. But that's not what I'm doing. Every single time I put out a video, I do a little dance and I'm like, hey, that's one more thing. That's one more step towards my goal. That's one more time that I put myself out there and that I can practice my speaking and I can work on what I want to talk to people about. We're usually so focused on what we haven't done yet that we forget to celebrate how far we've actually come. Celebrating those wins builds so much confidence and really is what keeps you going. Every time you acknowledge your progress, you're showing yourself that your effort matters and that it's making a difference. Show yourself some love for getting to that point. You don't have to have a big celebration every time, but definitely acknowledge it. Even if you're still so far from your destination, you're still further than you were last week, which is further than you were last month, which is further than you were a year. So if you continue to make the progress at that same rate, imagine where you're going to be a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. Make sense? Listen, at the end of the day, goal setting isn't about becoming a completely different person overnight. And it's not about setting some big goal and having a timeline to be like, okay, this has to get done in this amount of time or else I'm a failure. It's about slowly becoming the person that you want to be. The reason we set goals is, yes, to get to a destination, but the journey of who we have to become in order to achieve those goals is even more important. So make sure you write your goals down. Focus on your own progress. Visualize your future and who you are becoming and who you want to be at the end. And stay consistent with the small things. All those little actions are going to add up if you stay consistent. If you want a little help with your goal setting and getting clear on the big picture and being able to break it down, there is a section in my Glow Up guide that is completely free. I will link it in the description below, and it'll help you kind of start to visualize and get this idea into your head of how to set these goals and how to realize them. It's a really simple exercise and it has a little worksheet that you can write everything down, and it's perfect for when you're just getting started.